Good morning, afternoon, good evening, good night, and welcome to a podcast. This is Honestly Arbitrary Episode 9, as it shall be known. I'm Joseph.
I'm Matt.
And there's no one else here right now, because the person that wasn't going to come couldn't show up for their own reasons, which is fine. And then no one else showed up. So that's okay, because we can manage.
And now it's a two-person discussion, bringing it back to the olden days.
But we're not talking about video games.
Oh, yep, that's right.
Because nobody else cares.
Alright. So what did you have to talk about today, Joey?
Well, we just watched a thing about the Ukrainian revolution, as I will call it, that's going on right now, and it's really horrible. But it made me think about how artistic media can bring us together as a global society and tear down the boundaries created by nations and cultures.
Please explain to me what artistic mediums have to do with this revolution. Because I'm not exactly sure of this relationship you've discovered between the two.
There's a lot of things that if you watch it, you can see people making, like, visual art, like sculptures out of things they're using to, like, defend themselves. There's a musical element in that there's a lot of protest music. There are, like, concerts going on, and then there's, like, pictures and videos of, like, protesters, like, sitting at pianos in front of lines of, like, armed police just playing music regardless of the situation around them. And I think that's this simple and beautiful thing. And also just, like, that's with Ukraine anyway. But then there's another aspect of that, and that, like, you can see that throughout the world, and that we are often interested and intrigued by, like, I don't know, for me it's usually the music, but some people find it in visual art, and I find it in some, but not a lot of films. But, like, we like art made by people of other cultures because it's indicative of their cultures, and it's something that a lot of people will agree on as something that's good. That was worded horribly, but...
as something that everyone can rally behind.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't actually need to be particularly informed to see the value in.
Yeah, you can rally behind it. Why is the audio so low? Anyway, you can rally behind it, but then also there's a thing about, like, people from all cultures appreciate art, and they will appreciate art from each other's cultures at the same time. So you could, you know, have someone from across the world and then, like, listen to some song that's prominent in their culture and, like, both find a value in it.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
That's a good thing, too.
And also musical instruments transcend cultures.
Explain?
As in, like, not all of them, like, you know, nobody over here plays a balalaika. Well,
right.
Some people do.
Variants.
But, like, instruments like the piano is fairly universal.
Yeah, I can see that.
But then you have, like, your cultural instruments, like, the only thing I can think of is a balalaika right now, but...
like those thumb things they have in Africa.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what those are called.
Yeah, they're like drums that you play. No one knows. No one knows what they are. Except for the people in Africa. But that's okay, because even though we're not totally unified as cultures, at least we can appreciate each other's.
Yeah. There's a... It's sad to think that we probably won't ever come unified together because there's all this...
I wouldn't say that.
I would... Well...
I wouldn't say never. Not in our lifetimes.
Not in our lifetimes.
If humanity persists long enough, then I believe we can come together as a global society, because right now we're laying the framework for this.
Slowly.
Well, I don't know. You have things like the failed League of Nations, but then NATO and the UN, and I know these like political systems aren't working very well, but at least it's the idea that we're all united.
Trying to work together.
At least we're all united, and we're not all going to go to war with each other.
Yeah.
Unless, you know, Ukraine falls apart, and then we'll be in the Third World War. But
which is scary to think of.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's not getting the media attention it deserves.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Because I wrote about this in the thing that I wrote the other day, and that our
which
headlines...
you should publish.
There's some personal shit in that.
Well, then take out the second half.
Okay, I don't know where to publish it, but...
Alright, anyways, go on.
I do want to, but, anyway, like, about how the headlines are occupied by soulless and talentless individuals, while the real horrors of this world slip from the headlines. Like, I've noticed this when I watch local news, and that every single night they will show something stupid about, like, cats or dogs, or it'll be, like, tigers in Japan or something like that. And it's always stupid and arbitrary when there are so many more important things going on in the world that we need to focus on. And maybe if we were to, like, put this into the public's eye, then something would get done about it.
Yeah.
But our nation realized that if you tell the public something they don't want to hear, they'll make a big deal out of it. And that's what happened in the 60s, and that's why we don't hear anything about what's going on in Afghanistan. And we don't hear about Ukraine.
Something that's screwed up is that, with all the money that we've spent in Afghanistan, you could have just given everyone a free college education, but we just threw it away in a pointless, military conflict instead.
Mm-hmm. It's not absolutely pointless. There is some good that can come of it, but it's so minimal, and so many people are being hurt for so little. And that's the nature of war, though.
Yes, that is the nature of war.
Because usually whatever comes from a war is immediately, well, not immediately, but lost over time.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at the world wars, nothing was accomplished by either, except for, I don't know, after the Second World War, we have, like, the UN
now.
And human rights are established and not enforced.
Yeah, at least they're kind of there in spirit. And then, oh gosh, what was it? In one of Obama's speeches, I'm not exactly sure which one this is, but he earned some of my respect when he went off and, I don't even know if he cares anymore about the things he says in public, because he said, Congress is saying something about they don't want people to, not work and still get paid or something like that, and then he makes a comment, if people want to work and not work and still get paid, they should just join Congress like the rest of you. And I was like, oh, nice one, Obama.
Well, they can't do anything about it.
True.
He doesn't have to care about his approval ratings.
Yeah.
Term limits.
Yeah, I think that
he can say whatever he wants.
Yeah, he can say whatever he wants, and he's being awesome about it because he's calling people out that deserve to be called out, because honestly, I haven't heard anything about what the government's done in the past, 6 months.
Nothing. This is why I'm completely disengaged from politics altogether, because I don't care, for one, and two, it's just turned into this huge fest of demagoguery and,
it's a circus.
Partisanship, and it's so ridiculous, and I hate it, and I am the type of person who, whenever you ask me, a question or to take a stance in, a debate, I will always be in the dead middle and, compromise. There are very few things I'm, polarized in my beliefs on.
Yeah, my issue with modern day politics is that there's no real... Yeah, a lot of people say that they don't do anything, and I've kind of noticed that they don't do anything, and it's kind of sad to see that we're just kind of, I don't know, we're just kind of floating now. Floating around as this little, just people that need to fend for themselves all of a sudden. Because the tool that's meant for them to be able to use to do things and get things done is not doing anything, which is unfortunate.
But it's okay, because nothing will happen, because the federal government is so incredibly powerful, and our nation is so incredibly conservative.
We like to think we're liberal, though.
We think we are because we have two parties, but our nation is so conservative compared to, Europe and Asia.
What do you mean?
As in, maybe not Asia, but, European politics are, all about reform. What is it? There's, it's basically the same, well, maybe I won't say the same, but it's similar to the thing with slavery, and that, European nations abolished slavery so much earlier than America. Mm-hmm. Because we hold our values so dear, and we like to drive around in our trucks with our guns and hate on people who are different than us because we have self-confidence issues, and then stuff McDonald's in our faces.
Is that also the same thing? I'm not sure on this, so you need to be historically more informed than I, but, is that the same of women's suffrage?
Yeah, I believe so. I know, World War I brought about a lot of that. Like, we're studying that in history right now. But a lot of women's rights came like throughout the world after World War I because they played such an important role in industry in Western Europe.
Right.
And then I guess we aren't so much farther behind them. Like, women's suffrage kicked off in the 20s here, and I guess it kicked off right after World War I there, so we're a little bit behind, but not too much on that one.
Yeah, but we're still not the innovators we think we are.
No.
At least not socially. Like, we've done a bunch of great science and industry and whatever, but
Why is my computer making noise? Ignore the clicking, please. It's so unprofessional. Oh, God.
But social change is slow here. And the only fast thing that's happened is the spread of the support for the homosexual population.
Vaguely, and there's still pockets of people. And now we have this horrible thing that I'm noticing where it's like, if anyone holds, like, counter social progress or counter progressive moves, we essentially crucify them.
Yeah. Like, I can they take disagreeing really too far. They're like, oh, you hate gays? Maybe you're Satanist and you should probably just go die. Like, and it's like, no.
We pin, like, if a celebrity says something that might be arguably racist or, like, discriminatory against any demographic that we feel has been victimized throughout human history, then we will essentially plaster their face all over the internet and say that they are a horrible, horrible person and that everyone should hate them, and then their careers are ruined.
Yep. And then their careers that aren't really based in anything incredibly incredible in the first place.
Yep, I mean, look at Paula Deen. She cooked food, and then she said something racist years ago, and then somehow it came up last year, and then everybody hated her forever.
Yeah.
And now no one talks about her, because that's how this stuff works.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Thanks.
It's actually really, really sad.
Yeah, she didn't deserve that much backlash.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe say, like, hey, that's not cool, and then let it be.
Yeah, because, people can change, given enough time, considering that was, like, a long time ago that this racist thing she said was all the way back when. But, it's kind of sucks because the people that actually do bad things, like, nothing's happened about it.
No, we turn horrible people into celebrities.
Yeah.
Like, it's the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Like, when someone commits some heinous crime, we plaster their face all over the headlines and say, like, man, what an awful person, and then we're giving them all this attention.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the same thing. Go ahead.
Think about the modern representation of Adolf Hitler. Think about that. Think about how much we see his face and joke about him, and, like, no matter how horrible that is, he's, like, essentially become a modern celebrity.
It's actually kind of true. Never thought of that before. But what I was going to say is, people who commit school shootings, they're not condemned, and then the attention that the families deserve isn't given to them. Mm-hmm. Like, we should be mourning them, except everyone's just obsessed with, oh, yes, the school shooter, he killed 75 people, and then they explain, like, step by step his plans and processes going through the whole thing in this huge, like, media story. And all these, like, media outlets want to get to the story first so they can just get more viewers and make more money. Mm-hmm. And no attention is given to the victims.
We pay more attention to the criminal than the victim because one is less sad.
Like, the only name of any shooting victim that I remember right now is Christina Taylor Greene from the shooting.
From here.
Yeah, from here.
Well, also, my mom is a third grade teacher at the school she went to, and she was a third grade student, and she wasn't my mom's student, but she went there.
Yeah, like, that's the only person I know. And then she was the only child that died in that shooting out of, I think it was 12 or 13 others?
I think so.
Something around that range.
And that happened in 2011.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Doesn't seem like that long ago. But yeah, and then what was it? The theater shooting. I don't remember where that was, but that was after that Batman premiere or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know anyone who died there, and then I don't know the names of anyone who died in that other elementary school shooting either.
No, we don't, because our society is, like, subtly horrible.
Yeah.
And that's another one of those things where in, like, 100 years they'll look back on us and, well, at least hopefully they'll look back on us and say, like, my God, what was wrong with these people?
Yeah, and then And then on a less serious note, the idolization in quotes, of Miley Cyrus, who came back just to be controversial, and then Justin Bieber, who gets all this media attention just for being a dick.
They get so much shit because people love celebrities screwing up, and I don't know why. It's like, you can look at the lives of rich and famous people who are failing horribly and feel better about yourself. Is that what this is, America?
Yeah.
And then also, there's a thing about, like, Kim Kardashian, who has nothing. She does nothing.
Isn't she famous just for that sex tape she had with Kanye West?
No, not Kanye West. It was
some other guy.
Basket sport man. He played sports, I think.
Well,
I don't remember. We don't even fucking know that guy. We just know her.
We just know that she's famous for doing whatever it is she did.
Sex.
Yeah.
And then, like, she doesn't even have a talent. Like, Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber are obnoxious and stupid, but they at least make music, quote, music.
Yeah.
But she does nothing, and she's a celebrity.
Yeah. And then also, I don't understand why... What is it? I don't understand why Chris Brown is still around after he beat
Because we like watching train wrecks. This is the train wreck principle. When a train is crashing, it's fun to watch, so we're going to all watch it.
Yes, and then we're all worse as a result.
Mm-hmm. They're all dead inside, and so are their fans. You hear that, fans of these people? You're dead inside!
Oh my gosh. And then there are... and then something else that I dislike is that rich people who happen to be famous, when they try to do... I'm not sure exactly how abundant this is, but those who actually try to do a bunch of... what's the word? Good golly.
Charitable.
Charitable work. Like, they're doing charitable work. It's not a PR stunt. I feel like a lot of people
they're doing
criticize them for doing it as a PR stunt, and then it's like, no, it's...
I haven't heard those criticisms, but then again, I pay no attention to celebrity news because I don't care.
Yeah, but like, they do it because they can, and it's a good thing that they do, because no one else is.
Yeah. But the thing is, we pay less attention to that than when they do stupid things. Like, we prefer when they do something horrible to when they do something good.
Yeah. It's what was it? It's kind of like that thing that they had in The Matrix. This is a more subtle thing that they put in, but in The Matrix they said that, or the robots said that at first they made...
robots.
The cyborgs.
There were no cyborgs.
Alright.
It was a computer program. Gosh dang it, learn your sci-fi. Learn the lore! Anyway.
They were a computer program, and they said that The Matrix was originally designed as a utopia for people, but they rejected it because they
couldn't handle it?
It's not that they couldn't handle it because they were mentally geared towards violence and suffering.
No, we are.
And I was like, wow, that's actually really profound, and I didn't catch on to that the first time I watched it.
If you have nothing but happiness, then you will be unhappy because there's no balance. That's why we need sadness. As horrible as it is, and as much as we hate being sad and angry, we need it so that we can be happy.
That's true.
Life is balance. And when your life becomes unbalanced, it's your responsibility to yourself and those around you to balance it.
Indeed. Right. Oh, man. We just spent 18 minutes ripping on American society.
Basically. No, just Western society as a whole. This is like, these are the problems of capitalism. And it's not like I hate capitalism or being able to, like, work your way to a fortune. It's just that when they stack it against you, it's not great, is it? And I'm not saying that communism is any better, because it's not, because absolute equality is horrible, and then there's no point to life because you're all the same, and there's no purpose to individuality or spiritualism. So, screw communism.
Yeah.
But capitalism's not much better.
And we have no other alternative.
Well, there is my whole idea of just... Actually, I guess my idea of, like, a perfect political system is either absolute totalitarianism under a beneficent, unself-centered leader, or absolute lack of government and human equality, which sounds a lot like communism. But, I don't know.
Or anarchy.
Well, it is anarchy, but the connotation of anarchy is that it results in like
chaos,
violence and chaos.
True.
But in like a perfect society, people could coexist and like better each other. And I think communist society would be good if it wasn't like if it was bringing the people up to a standard as opposed to lowering them all down to a standard.
Yeah.
But it is always lowering them all down to a standard, and they are represented by a government that does not actually represent them.
Yes.
So that's why communism doesn't work.
Ugh.
Good to know we've figured out why politics are horrible and we can get nowhere with them. And also, what was it?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I heard that thing about how, and I don't know if this was true or not, but they gave, like, a form of currency to monkeys, and within about, like, an hour, they had figured out prostitution, armed theft, and counterfeiting.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. So, look at that money. It is the source of all evil, except it's actually not, because greed is the source of all evil, and you can see that anywhere you look.
Yes.
Even in the Bible. And I haven't actually read it, but I will tell you what I have heard about it.
Alright.
And that there's a thing about how the devil is all evil, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Here's the story of the devil. He was an angel. He wanted more power. He tried to fight God, and then he went to hell and became the devil. He wanted more. He was being greedy. He is evil. He is greed. He is all evil. Greed is all evil. There you go. There's a simple explanation.
That's very good theory crafting right there.
That's why there's a thing about, like, if you analyze religious texts and don't center it around yourself, then there's a lot of valuable stuff in it. But if you don't, then a lot of times it turns into listening to what someone else says. They've skewed it towards themselves or some organization, and then you lose a lot of it.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Oh. Speaking of religious things, I once heard this comparison that the, what is it? Like, Islamic extremist terrorists are to the Islam community what the Westboro Baptist Church is.
Yeah, there
to
they
us.
are. Like, that.
Which is a good comparison
true.
I haven't heard before.
Yeah, like.
No. Actually, I guess it'd be closer to the KKK, because the KKK are actually going out actively and hurting people.
Yeah. In Western culture, where if you're uneducated, you just assume all of Islam's like that, but it's not. Because that's just the stereotype. But then, what is it? But there's radicalism on, like, all religions. Like, what was it? When I made my Spanish presentation, I saw a thing, it was just a chart of all these religious symbols. And there was, like, Western European Knight's Cross, which is, like, I guess its own religion. There was, like, one of them, there were, like, 3 symbols for paganism, including a pentagram. There was, like, Judaism, Islam. There was, like, Western Cross. There was Eastern Orthodox Cross. One of the religious symbols was straight up a swastika.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. But, yeah, so it's interesting. I should show you that chart.
Yeah. I've always thought that, I've never understood I don't understand why some people are not accepting of other religions. I've never understood that. Like,
it's a demographic thing, and that you feel like you identify to your group, and there can only be one right answer to existence, so yours must be the right one, and everyone else that's preaching other religions is just filling everyone else's head with horrible lies, and it's really stupid, but whatever.
Yeah, I've never understood how that, like, anyone can come to that conclusion, because in life there's never one right answer usually, and so
never usually.
Well, there's usually not a right solid answer.
That'll do.
But yeah, I've never understood how people can come to this very polarizing conclusion, and I'm like, see, now I wanted to say something like a reference I've heard before, but I feel like I'm going to say it anyways. All right, in Star Wars, there's what was it? I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure of, like, how canon this is, but something that characterizes the Sith is that they deal in absolutes, like absolute good and evil. right? And
I think that's sort of the whole thing, though.
Yeah, and then the Jedi represent a gray area between the two.
Also, by the way, Darth Vader and the Empire are a symbolism for either Nazism or communism. Communism would have been more topical, but Nazism also applies. Actually, no, I think it is Nazism because a lot of their like uniforms are reminiscent of Germans, and they have like stormtroopers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the old ones were Nazis, and then the new ones were stupid.
They're making more new ones.
Yeah, they are. I don't know where that's gonna go.
Yeah, but I heard that they... Just as a closing comment to the Star Wars opening, is that I heard that they made a lot of Star Wars fans mad by completely discrediting all, like, there's a whole series of, like, books that took place between two of the movies or something, and made a lot of fans upset.
There's a lot of Star Wars stuff. Like, if you account for all the video games and movies and books and, like, cartoon series for children, like, there's a very long and overly complicated timeline with many, many characters because
it's a Star Wars universe.
Yeah, it's a universe that's gotten way too big and is going to collapse in on itself and then be in a heat death.
No, that's how Assassin's Creed works. Anyways.
Well, that's how our universe works, only in trillions of years, so I don't have to deal with it.
Oh, gosh.
Which sounds awful, by the way, when you call it a heat death.
Yeah. And I think it's really funny how astronomers come up with all these incredibly simplistic terms for things. Big Bang, heat death, what is it, black hole?
Black hole, supernova, nova being star.
Right. And then red giant, white dwarf. Like...
Big star, exploding space.
You can at least be Latin about it. Anyways.
Well, they named the planets after gods. Some of them. Actually, most of them.
Actually, all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Wow. Well.
Greek gods, because the Greeks saw them.
Well, also, the Greeks were, they're
advanced,
Greeks.
And we base so much of our, like, art and philosophy and all these intelligent, high-purpose things off of everything they've done, while the Romans have only given us politics, which we've spent the past few minutes railing against. This is why I hate the Romans. And they gave us consumerism.
They gave us consumerism. They gave us drinking too much, orgies, killing for fun.
This sounds horrible, but in a sense they ruined Christianity.
Yep.
Because they pretty much took a bunch of they took a bunch of aspects of it and then said, nah, we don't like this, got rid of that, and then made it their own way.
Yeah.
And then said, here's your religion world. Like, they sort of made... Because there's a lot of interpretations of it, because I've, like, seen these things about ancient biblical texts and, like, the, like, what is it? I can't think of the word. The Gospels. They were, Gospels of other people who knew Jesus, and then the Romans looked at them and just picked the ones that they liked that made the people seem like... Because I remember one of the Gospels, I remember hearing about how it said, like, God is in you, if you find yourself, you will have found God, and you will be at peace. And they said, like, we don't like this makes people sound empowered. So they didn't so they took it out of organized Christianity, and then only recently did people, like, find it. And I like where the church is going now, with, like, the new pope, and then they recently came out with a thing that's just, like, because before they were... it was the type of thing in the Catholic Church, like, I don't know much about Catholicism, but
right.
There was a thing about, like, you can only go to heaven if you believe the right thing, but now it's like, as long as you follow your beliefs and believe in yourself, then you can go to heaven.
Thank God for the new Pope. Hey, Get it? Anyways.
Zing! Anyway.
Yeah, I saw a picture of a comparison between the old Pope and the new Pope, just sitting on their chairs.
One looks like Star Wars, like, Lord of Darkness, and the other one looks like
Sidious.
happy.
The other one looks happy and content with his life, and he's dressed exponentially less, like, extravagantly, and his chair is also, I'm not going to say downgraded, but it's much more modest.
Humble.
Yes. And it's actually more befitting of his role.
Yeah, thank you for being a good person, Pope. Thank you for doing, pious.
First glimpse of humanity.
Thanks for being pious, like you're supposed to.
Yes.
Also, what was it, like, there was this joke on Saturday Night Live, and it was like, after the Pope released, like, the 2 doves for world peace, like, they got attacked by a seagull and a crow, which is horrible. And then they just made a joke about, like, they showed the old Pope with, like, the seagull and the crow, like, flocking to him. And he was like, good work.
Wow.
That was like,
But yes, thank you, new Pope. I don't even know his name, sadly.
Francis, I believe.
Pope Francis, for being the first glimpse of humanity and authority in a long time.
He's from Argentina.
Oh, what a good guy.
I believe it's Argentina.
Yeah, he was the first one out of South America, I know that.
Mm-hmm. Which is a very, very Catholic place, so, you know.
Makes sense.
He's not disenfranchised.
Yeah, I never understood that, why they would kept getting, like, European popes, because as far as I know, I'm not particularly informed of, like, world religion, like, how far they're practiced, but they've got all these, like, massive cathedrals and stuff, and they don't really use them that much. Now they're just basically, like, tourist destinations.
Yeah, they are works of art.
Yes. But they're not particularly huge religious centers anymore.
No. Like, what was it, that one church in France, the huge one on the island, that took, like, decades to build, and, like, generations of families were building that church. I don't know what it's called.
I'm not actually sure if I know that one.
It's the big one.
I've actually never heard of this before, sadly.
It's in Paris.
Huh.
I don't know what it's called. Anyway, there's a giant cathedral in Paris, and, yeah, it took a long time to build.
Well.
You had a topic?
It seems we've dried up.
Do you want to talk about your topic?
What was my topic?
Something to do with power?
With power.
We vaguely talked about it beforehand.
Yeah, it's extremely vague. What was I gonna say? What was my topic? Oh God. This always happens to me. Well, it seems we've dried up, Joey.
No more kids for us.
Let's play some Journey.
Good night.
Bye-bye.